Alrighty then. Time for round one. Time to reanimate some crushers and hopefully crush some opponents. This hand... wow. So this hand has some duresses, which I like and consume. Right, this is it's all fine and dandy. But it doesn't have either a red source or a looting effect, so I think we have to mulligan it. This one looks fine. Keep this one. Oh, snap, keep that. So, we can... so what we can do here is, if we lead with Sandstone Needle, we can next turn play Faithless Looting, discard Crusher and Dragon Breath, and if we draw a Swamp we can Exhume, or any untapped land because we have a Manamorphose. Alright. We are on board. This could be a very sick start. Hopefully they don't also do something totally bananas and destroy us, because elves have the explosive capability of just going crazy and flooding the board. Like, elves is actually one of the few decks that could beat like a turn 3 crusher and it be in play for multiple turns, because if they get to do stuff like flood the board with millions of creatures and play Distant Melody, then they can actually just draw more cards than I can kill. So we want a Manamorphose for black and red, cast Faithless Looting. And we missed. So discard Crusher, discard Dragon Breath, cast Duress. They at least didn't have the... well, unfortunately for us, didn't have Melody or a Wirebird Pride or anything like that. But looks like we might lose this game, which shows you how bonkers Elves is when it gets, gets a decent start. And basically all Elves' decent starts involves this card, because it just lets them play all of their cards all at once. Like any hand where they have like this, then obviously they just play their entire hand by turn 3, which is unfortunate. So if we were on the play, I think we'd have a chance of de-permanenting them, but things could be quite bad. Oh, is that all? I mean, I sort of expected there to be more things happening, but I mean, I guess their hand was relatively expensive and they wanted to get this Huntmaster down first, but... well, I mean, I guess we have to sacrifice this Sandstone Needle. I think it would be outrageously greedy to try and like Tormenting Voice into like a land of some description. I mean, maybe I'm just underestimating how good this Crusher is going to be. Aha, I got the value pump on Dragon Breath there with our spare red mana. So, turn 3 crush, not too bad. Good start. Let's see how many elves they make. If they don't like have another land to be playing their Timberwatch Elf. Because Timberwatch Elf is actually kind of embarrassing for us, since sometimes they'll just make an elf that's big enough to trade with Crusher, and we'll be very sad about it. And now we just get to watch them do some stuff and figure out if it's good enough to beat us or not. I suppose it's interesting that if we draw not a swamp, a mountain, we would actually have enough pumps on our Dragon Breath to kill them, which means that they would have to chump. We did not. So I think we just attack first. Get some more information about what's happening. But yeah, see now they've got these elves and it's like sacrifice fodder for the Annihilator. Like Well-Wisher can stop them from dying. But I think we may have got this out early enough to do the business. And they're not jumping, unfortunately. I mean, obviously, it's not in their best interest to throw away this Well-Wisher right now, but I still wanted them to. I guess Stinkweed Imp is probably what we want to be discarding here. I mean, we don't really have too much use for all these lands, but we sort of want to dig for more reanimation stuff, so... And we milled another Stinkweed Imp. We milled an Exhume, which isn't particularly useful to mill. Because there are certainly situations where we don't want to dredge Stinkweed Imps at various points because we need to draw specifically Exhume and there's no way for us to dredge our way into having Exhumes in hand. But we did at least mill a Dragon Breath, which could be useful, and a Faithless Looting, which can help us dig for, you know, more Exhumes and more Crushers. There's the classic Elvish Vanguard, demoted from, you know, sweet rare during Onslaught to lowly common. Yep, opponent back up to 15 life, and, you know, making a reasonable amount of things every turn. Declare blockers. Nah. So we have options again. Do we want to... Which land? Either which land do we want to play? Do we want to bump any this guy? Do we want to cast Faithless Looting? Do we want to cast Stinkweed Imp? I feel like I sort of want to cast a Stinkweed Imp this turn because, you know, they are starting to hit us back a little bit. And Crusher needs more time to get the job done. And if that's the case, I think probably want to use this Evolving Wilds because like the extra 1 point is probably unlikely to matter. And having more mana like next turn if we Faithless Looting and then play Exhume, you know, very optimistically speaking. They're down to 3 cards in hand, but, you know, with Birchlaw Rangers and Crayon Ranger. Oh, well, I was semi-surprised they sacrificed this, since it does give them the threat to grow big enough to trade with Crusher, but it seems like they might be just deciding never to try to trade for Crusher and get off the table. Perhaps they are assuming we have more reanimation ready to go. That would be an incorrect assumption, but I can obviously see why you would have that assumption. And since we've got plenty of black mana, this will be going to search for a mountain in case we need to, you know, pump tons of times. It's also has been known to Dragon Breath up a Stinkweed Imp and go to town with that. It's not the plan that you want, but sometimes it's the plan that you need. A lightning axe would be pretty great too, because obviously it would take away the Huntmaster or this Timberwatch Elf if that turns out to be what we actually need to kill right now. Yeah, we certainly could have, milled, like looted to discard these Stinkweed Imps, but because we're actually needing to find an Exhume, because we're really far away from hardcasting a Crusher, I'm not that fussed about just binning tons of cards in the graveyard, since we do actually need to draw some of them. I suppose I'll start with Faithless Looting, since there is a slim chance that we would get to... Aha, well that's great. We've got a couple of Exhumes. Now, do we need both of these Exhumes? It seems unlikely that that's the case, but I suppose it could be, considering this Timberwatch Elf is here. We might need to hit them a lot with the Crushers, so... And there's no way for us, I think... No, there's no way for us to reanimate on 1 mana for sure, because this is the only reanimation spell. So I think we're fine to do this, and then we can play Neonate. And we can also, dredge Stinkweed Imp during our draw step, and from the Neonate as well. So we should be able to find a Crusher for next turn, and we have another Dragon Breath in the graveyard. So they can use Timberwatch Elf twice next turn, so they can get +10/+10 to something. So we might need to be chump blocking with Neonate. Hopefully we're not dead. Which, I did say this several turns ago, because I am aware how good the Elves deck can be at just beating a lone Crusher. And we weren't able to cobble together another one. Okay, so Stinkweed is obviously going on this thing. They can only untap the... Oh, did they draw Wirewood Pride? That'd be embarrassing. Well, I'm going to block. I mean, usually Wirewood Pride is like a one-off in these decks, so we'd be... Although they have only played Forest, so it's possible that they're like, a monocolored one. They're playing like a bunch of Wirewood Prides. They didn't float a mana. Do I want to just trade with Spellwisher? Since we're just taking 11, I think yeah. Unless I'm missing something here. So we do have a Crusher in the graveyard, and we can exhume, and that will put one creature into play, and then we can annihilate them 4. Alright, it's a close call there. We obviously could have died if they either had the Wirewood Pride, which, you know, still fairly semi-unlikely, or it's possible that they misclicked, but we will never know. Valiant effort, though. I think you'll agree. You know, turn 3 Crusher. It's turn 7. So we get to bring in Martyr of Ashes, which seems great. Electricity seems great. Changer's Edict doesn't seem great. Seem to take out 5 things. I think it's possible that Shred Memory is too slow in this matchup. Duress seems terrible, but they could be bringing in spells that's relevant, but I can't think of spells that they would be bringing in. And Graveyard Tate is fairly uncommon, so I mean maybe this is just very bad. But I want to keep my red spell count high for Martyr of Ashes. So, you know, Manamorphose is at least red. Okay. This is an interesting hand again. I think it's close to keepable. Like if we draw like a Faithless Looting or like a Neonate, I think it looks great. And we have the Martyr of Ashes, which if you just play in turn 1, will probably scare them. Our land count isn't the highest. I mean, like, if you draw like 1 land, it's fine too, because then we can just blow up the Martyr. And we have, if you draw like 1 land, then we have a further extra 4 looting effects to draw into, because we can draw Tormenting Voice. It's kind of risky, but I'm gonna keep it, since like this is such a good card against them, and they don't know that we can't use it right away. So this is actually a big part of it, where if we just play this, then you know we can't beat like a super fast draw, but by playing this it means they might not do the super fast draw, or they might think we're slow rolling the second land, even if we miss next turn. See, there's a extended pause now, so they're gonna be figuring out what to do. I guess Sylvan Ranger is the best response they could play to Martyr of Ashes, since it, you know, will get them another mana source without actually committing real cards to the board. Second Fintor Elves, that's fine. Well, we did not hit. So I'm gonna just sit here just long enough for them to be plausible that we're contemplating playing our second land or hiding our second land. On the other hand, this does let them know that our hand is probably stacked with spells, so they will at least be aware that we can pop this for a large amount. There's a Huntmaster. Well, hopefully we get to draw land. Because if they're just moving in and hoping we never draw the second land, that's, you know, part of the risk we take when you keep a hand like this, which is totally bananas if we have it, and totally unplayable if we don't. Well, there's a lightning axe. I think I'm just gonna cast this right now on this Huntmaster, since we don't actually have, it. I don't want to. This gives them the most power, while also advancing our game plan. While it takes away the most power from their side of the board, while also advancing our board, and I think we're in a pretty good position with this Martyr in play. And I want to prolong the game as long as possible so I can actually just draw a second land. Or Faithless Looting, I think would probably still do the job because that would find us a second land. It's obviously entirely possible that at some point the opponent will just decide that they can never beat Martyr of Ashes, and I think that phase of the game has already begun, as you can see with them just playing out their hand here. So we missed again, so we're definitely getting into the danger zone, but they still don't have anything to actually kill us with yet. I believe we have 21 lands in our deck. So I think we're sort of odds-on favourite to have drawn one by now. So, but unfortunately, some of our lands do come into play tapped, which is another downside. Yeah, these are more cards which aren't super threatening. I feel like the opponent's missed a couple of points of damage with Fintorn Elves. You know, not willing to trade them with Martyr of Ashes, but I think them receiving a trade with Martyr of Ashes would have been obviously fantastic for them, since this would be gone. If they're only going to continue attacking with these, I am a-okay with that plan. Now obviously they might have something that pumps their whole team large enough to avoid being blown up by Martyr. I can't think of what it could be though. I guess they could have Rapid Vigor. And we missed again, but it's okay, we're just discarding a hand size. It's all part of the plan. Yeah, Rapid Vigor, if you don't know that one off by heart for some strange reason. It's like 1 green, 1 colorless, regenerate all your creatures, which would obviously save them from a Martyr pop. So for that reason, I would like to pop the Martyr of Ashes on their upkeep if I draw the second untapped source, since it will just tap them out for the turn. Barring this, of course. So hopefully we can, just peel a land now, since we're moving into turn 6. Oh, failed again. Kind of wish this Manamorphose was a land. Just discard a Stinkweed Imp, since I'm sure we probably don't need to discard this as a crusher, and at some point we can dredge some things. Although thinking about it, no, we probably should have just discarded this. Not sure what my grand plan there was. Opponent's just sitting there feeling very happy with themselves since we've drawn 7 bricks in a row. There's obviously no upside to playing the second Martyr out, since it would just die to the other one. I mean, I suppose they could theoretically have epic confrontation to kill this, and that would be incredibly embarrassing. You know, then draw the second land, play this, and then die. But yeah, this not attacking with these mana creatures is baffling to me. Unless there's something that they know that I don't. In which case, my being baffled makes total sense. Well, that is certainly a high life total they have. Oh, they're going upstairs with this life total. Land. Oops. That is technically a land. So I'm going to play it. Now we need to count, I suppose. So they've got... If they just attack with everything... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we do actually need to chump block Nettle Sentinel. I mean, obviously they might not have another green spell, but... Birchlow Rangers, alright. Hopefully they don't kill us with something. We're almost there. We're so close. The gaining 1 life part of this card actually very relevant right there. Obviously, not nearly as relevant as the fact that it came into play tapped and cost us like an extra 9 damage if they had just attacked with everything, but no attack to Elvish? Sure. Yeah, so this is 8 damage, not counting Nettle Sentinel. So no Wirewood Pride, please. So I'll play this, and like I say, I'm going to pop this on their upkeep. I don't care about letting them untap and gain another 1,000,000 life, since if I get them down to no permanents, then it's irrelevant. I will just in case I'm forgetting anything, I'll just closely read this. No, it seems all fine. I have successfully activated Martyr of Ashes. Obviously, we would still die to a pump spell, but we would have died last turn to a pump spell as well, so that's somewhat irrelevant. Now, the problem with Exhume is they will get a creature back also. And if they get back Nettle Sentinel, then we die. So what we actually need to do is make sure we have Stinkweed Imp in play first. We managed to mill some more Stinkweed Imps. An Insolent Neonate. Let's see. So we actually want to spread out our Dragon Breaths and Crushers. Because if we have both our Dragon Breaths in the graveyard... Oh wait, no, it's not me, never mind me. It's fine, because we obviously want to give one Crusher... like one Crusher each get a Dragon Breath. But we don't even have like double black right now to do the double annihilate thing. So I'm thinking Tormenting Voice. to begin with seems like a good idea. Need some lands now, I suppose. Ah, that's very welcome. So next turn we can play Exhume plus Stinkweed Imp. It's also possible to not do a post-combat Exhume, so we don't actually have to attack right away. Okay, so Stinkweed Imp. And yes, of course, they can actually get back Huntmaster too. That's actually way better for them. So what happens if I post-combat Exhume to get back Crusher? Then we can block, and then we can Exhume Martyr. That seems like a good option. So they will get back Huntmaster, but we'll have two blockers. So we shouldn't die. And then we can, like I say, we can bring back Martyr, pop it next turn. I'll leave this here since we might want to reanimate this other one and we don't necessarily have the chance to put this in the graveyard first. What a strange game. I definitely feel like I've not been playing super tightly here. Since the deck has so many uncertain factors with what you're going to get from like Manamorphose and lootings and stuff like that, it's sometimes hard to plan exactly what's happening. But I'm sure there's definitely been some spots in this game. I feel like we definitely should have lost this game. Simply just to not having another land. But, well, there's an island, so I guess they do have Distant Melodies in their deck after all, which is not unexpected. They might have counterspells or something. And I guess these Manamorphoses have been quite good at just being red in my hand. I don't think I want to dredge this. Or do I want to dredge this? I probably do, actually, since I'll probably be casting some Stinkweed Imps in the future, and we might as well see what options we get here. So we did get another Dragon Breath in the graveyard anyway. So, okay. If we cast Exhume, they'll get back a thing. We'll get back a Martyr, and then we'll blow up, so we can start smashing their lands. I assume it says in the chat that I chose Martyr of Ashes, yeah. So they should know this. Yeah, so because of that they picked this. I'm gonna actually pop this right now before they draw a card, because since who knows, maybe the card that they draw is a Rapid Vigor or something. I'm just gonna not tap this to cast my Manamorphoses, I suppose. And honestly, I can't imagine they have a random flash creature in their deck, but at the same time, I don't think this attacking with Stinkweed Imp matters. so thus there's no reason to attack with it, because this puts us at risk at perhaps some sweet tech that is uncommon, especially for Pauper, you know, if they have uncommons in their deck. But there are some flash creatures that exist, so... It's also nice to just keep Sandstone Needle around, since at some point we might just cast a Crusher. I'm just going to cast another Stinky Dimp, put our shields up a little bit more. And I suppose technically having the Manamorphoses in hand in this sort of spot, like let's say they do something sort of really out there, like give the creature like +3/+3 and trample plus another pump spell, then we can like dig into a lightning axe or something like that. And I sort of want to keep these around in case we need to exhume for Martyr again. So we have another Crusher in the graveyard. And we milled an Electric Ray, unfortunately, and a Lightning Axe. So attack with Crusher first, see what's going on. We're definitely getting them into the spot where they're gonna have to just start losing things they can't afford to lose. Maybe even build another Stinky Dimp. So we can have our full squad of Stinky Dimps. It's basically Squadron Hawk. They're just tapping a mana. This is quite a common way for people to just sort of concede. I have to imagine that's what's happening. No, take no chances. It's a surprisingly long game, but I guess I'm not gonna dredge. There's probably no real reason to be doing these things, but it's fine. Yeah, it seems like they're basically dead, so I'll just start playing fast and loose, just in case, you know, I disconnect from the internet, motor crashes, any of these things that could happen in the next 6 minutes. Oh, there's an Exhume. So that means I get to, you know, double crush them and kill them. Hooray! We did it. I see. This is quite a long game that I wasn't expecting to happen. Deck seems sweet though. I think this Reanimator deck is definitely bigger than nearly every other linear deck. Just might have difficulties against like, counterspells and stuff. Oh well, let's go into the next match.